You're now listening to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Straightforward, no nonsense business advice. Completely unfiltered. Grow your business. Grow your life. Now, here's your host, Brian Fullerton.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. It's your host, Brian Fullerton. Super excited about having you guys join in on the podcast. Hey, check this out. We have a special, actually, in-studio guest, Mark Parker. Mark, what's going on, brother?
How's it going, buddy?
I'm doing good, man. It's you were the first guest that I've had in studio.
I feel honored. The very first one inside of here. I like it.
I'm like running around. I'm putting the microphones together. We're running the space heaters. It's actually, of course, the coldest day of Michigan as well. It's like literally 0 degrees, real feel. I'm in my garage. We're running space heaters. We got like coats and like toboggans on. Mm-hmm. And Mark is like, "This is your setup, huh?" I go, "What people don't know." Yeah. So a lot of you guys maybe know Mark. Probably a majority of you guys don't know Mark. I actually had Mark at my Launchpreneur Academy Live 2019 event about 3 months ago, and Mark did a great job. It was one of those things where I'm a under-promise, over-deliver kind of guy, and Mark and I had planned this for about 6 months before, but I had not let anybody else know because I wanted to have a couple secrets, right, and have fun at the show. Mm-hmm. And so Mark did a half-hour training?
Yeah, I did about a half-hour training until I got the old wrap it up sign from the back because we were going up against lunch. But yeah, I did about a half hour on PPE.
Well, I would have let you kept going talking about all of the training because you did a bang up job. I mean, like it was a banger job. That. No, dude, like the feedback was incredible at the event. As you know, we recorded it and I put that video out on YouTube. Just gave it away just to hopefully serve the community. And again, like so much great feedback. Everybody said thanks, Mark. And yeah, I would have had you talk for another half hour because safety is that important to me. Mm-hmm. But again, I didn't want to have a mutiny either because there was some really good Italian chicken waiting there for all of us.
Yeah, it was delicious.
I love it. Well, let's do this. Before we go super down the rabbit hole, because we're going to talk safety, we're going to talk equipment. This isn't going to be a boring safety speech. Mark's got a lot of great analogies and ways of communicating that makes this fun, makes it upbeat. But you know what? Safety is huge. Safety in PPE is a cornerstone to our industry. It's incredibly important to me. My goal is to see everybody listening to this to come home at the end of the day with all 10 fingers, all 10 toes, and get to go hang out with their family.
Absolutely.
That's the idea with being safe. And to be honest with you, in our industry, there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of machines, a lot of engines, and there's just there is unfortunately a lot of accidents too. So we're going to speak on all this, but before I get running, why don't you give everybody maybe your 30, 60-second elevator speech for people if they don't know you, just how you got started doing this, and maybe you're just quick background.
Okay, so for you guys who don't know or haven't picked up on yet, my name is Mark Parker. My official title is I'm a technical field specialist with Bryan Equipment Sales. We are the distributor of steel outdoor power equipment across 5.5 states. I got into this by I'm from the Toledo, Ohio area, a little west of there. I went to the University of Toledo.
Sure.
I started a lawn care landscape business while I was at the University of Toledo with some friends who were in my fraternity with me.
Yeah.
And then I also worked on the grounds department there.
Okay.
So, and before that, I worked for a big commercial landscape company in the area of Toledo. And that's kind of where my passion and my love of working outdoors was born.
Wow. No kid.
So
this would be really good.
Yeah.
So you're from the field. Mm-hmm. So you've ran your own business. You work for larger outfits. So you're not just some guy who, is like the safety training guy who has no passion, no excitement, and just reading from the manual.
Correct.
You're not
I've
that
ran
guy.
this stuff. I've been in the 95, 110 degree heat.
Right.
You're mulching. It's right before Memorial Day, and you're staying until 6:30 because they're having a party. Mm-hmm. You're finishing those last lawns before the 4th of July. All your friends are going to the lake, and you've got more lawns to cut. I've been there.
I always say one of us. One of us.
Yeah, so, we will one of us.
One of us. So this will be a fun episode. I think you guys are really going to enjoy. Let's do this. We'll get right into it here. We'll start unpackaging some things right after the announcements.
Keep yourself protected as you grow your lawn care business. It's 2020. We believe you should have options other than hot and heavy earmuffs or standard earplugs to protect your hearing. Get comfortable protection you deserve with IsoTunes. Our Bluetooth headphones merge high-quality audio with noise-blocking earplugs. Certified by OSHA, IsoTunes provides protection and delivers durability to last you season after season. Visit isotunes.com to find your fit.
All right, cool. So, well, let's do this before we start running down the whole rabbit hole of safety and training, because there is a lot that I want to unpackage. Well, I got somebody like you in studio and on the podcast with us. But why don't you give that story though a little bit more of the timeline? Because so you didn't just start off as like this 25-year-old rugged dude telling everybody about all the goods and bads about chainsaws, right?
Correct.
So why don't you unpackage that story? Because I think it adds a lot of value to our audience knowing that you are one of the guys. Like I think that is really cool that you had your own. So you have your own business in college, or
So
why don't you go tell the story?
So when I was senior in high school, I went and started working for a landscaping firm in the Toledo area, and then did that for a couple of summers, and then I was like, I could do this myself.
Sure.
So, and I worked on the grounds crew at the university during the year because you got 20 hours a week and to study. I basically got paid to study.
Oh, okay.
Which worked out rather well.
Right.
And so me and some friends, I had a blue Ford Ranger, a 1999 Ford Ranger.
Wow.
And
Chariot.
Yeah. Oh, it was great. And a homemade trailer made out of 2x4s.
Okay.
And I think it was an old jet ski trailer that we modified into a landscape trailer.
Okay.
And we had a couple of push mowers, and I went to a steel dealer and bought some BR 430s.
Okay.
If you guys are familiar with backpack blowers, these aren't the creme de la creme of backpack blowers.
It's a good starter commercial, right?
Yeah, it's a good homeowner backpack blower.
There you go.
It's what, as Caleb Allman says, buy what you can afford at the time.
Hey, that works.
So I was a broke college kid, so that's what I could afford. And so we started to do some fall cleanups, and then that transitioned into doing some snow removals, just shoveling and using snow blowers. So I'm probably about 20 at the time.
Okay.
And then the next year it rolls into, and we start getting some lawn contracts, and we start mowing some serious grass and mulching and doing some things. So I'm probably at like 35 lawns, and we're doing usually 2 or 3 mulch jobs a week. We built our business through Thumbtack.
Okay.
I don't even know if it's still around anymore.
I think so. It does sound familiar.
Yeah. It was different back then. It was like the leads were free. It was like the very early stages, so it was very, very affordable.
Sure.
It wasn't like how a lot of the lead generating services are now, where it costs an arm and a leg.
Right.
This was basically just free leads that they were letting you get.
Okay.
That the homeowners paid for, not even the contractors.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It worked out really well because it wasn't contractor paid; it was homeowner paid.
Sure.
And so we started doing that, and then I had to go get an internship with a company for my degree. My degree's in marketing and professional sales.
Okay.
And so I moved to Pittsburgh, and so I had a couple of buddies kind of running the business while I lived in Pittsburgh for a summer.
Wow.
So they went through all the summer stuff, and then I get back and hopped right back into it, doing my plowing and all that stuff. Next year, we expanded. We started taking on retaining walls. We started taking on patios. We started taking on design work, stuff like that. So like I was doing commercial design, landscaping. I had a company that I had to buy a program because the name of my company is American Green Landscaping. So people thought we were much bigger than what we are, because I had
That's marketing, bro.
Yeah, I had
that's huge.
I had a good logo. I had a friend draw it for me. I had T-shirts. Like, we didn't show up in ratty clothes.
Right.
We showed up in khaki work pants, boots, and a nice clean T-shirt.
Well, there's so many guys that listen to the podcast. They're 18, 20, 25, or even like 16, right? And they're like, how can I differentiate myself from the other guys? I have no business, no credibility. It's me and my first little walk behind. I'm like, they don't know that when they're calling you if you have a good postcard, that can make that phone ring. So I'm like, the equalizer is always marketing.
Yep.
Right. All right. So keep going on the timeline.
Marketing and branding. I would say to all of you young people who are listening, what you do is partner with a printer inside your town, and get a good colored T-shirt and get a good professional looking logo. Keep them simple with a logo on the front and it bigger on the back. Have your phone number on there.
Yep.
Simple, don't wear basketball shorts. Wear work pants,
cargo shorts at the worst. Cargo shorts.
At worst, cargo shorts, khaki cargo shorts.
Yep.
But make sure you're wearing work pants or work shorts. Good brandable stuff that looks like a uniform. You want to look uniform.
That gets you 70% of the way.
Absolutely.
At least gets you in that one-on-one conversation with that customer.
Yep. You're able to knock on their door and they don't slam it, in your face.
Yeah.
They'll answer and listen to at least your elevator pitch. They'll at least listen to your elevator pitch.
And they don't know the vinyl on your shirt is like kind of like peeling because it's still wet. You know, it's still adhering with the adhesive.
Exactly.
Or like your flyers, like the ink is still running because you just printed them off at Staples 2 hours before.
Absolutely.
They don't know. And you know, and that's true, dude. That's like the hustle of like starting your own lawn and landscape company for a majority of us. Okay, so you're 20, 21, 22.
Yep. I'm getting ready to graduate.
Okay.
And then the company I took an internship with, I took a job with, and because I was looking around and my best laborers, one was going to be an engineer.
Right.
One was going to be an accountant. The other was going to be a teacher.
Sure.
They were all moving away.
Right.
I had no labor force anymore.
hustle's over.
Yeah, the hustle's over. Guess what? We made some pretty good money in college. We blew a lot of it because we were in college. But like, it was
unfiltered.
Fun.
It's unfiltered.
It was fun. Like, I'll be honest with you guys. I blew almost all that money I did.
Right.
What did I blow it on? Blew it on hanging out with my friends.
Right.
Blew it on spring breaks. The Indians made the World Series. I'm a big Cleveland Indians fan. I went to every single home playoff game.
Heck yeah.
I was only able to do that because I wasn't making $8.50 an hour.
Right.
I was cutting grass. So like,
I think that's huge, bro.
Yeah.
There's so many guys that tell them, even if you don't want to do this when you're 22, but you're like 16 right now, dude, just run the hustle now through college. But maybe even position the business to be able to sell it at 22 because you maybe lost 20, 30 grand of an asset, you know, just thinking out loud. But it's not, you know, it's not the end of the world. You're 22, right?
Yeah.
But dude, at least you didn't come out of school 100 grand in debt. You know, you're making money along the way, paying for the hobbies. You didn't put stuff on credit card. We all know that trap when you're 18 to 22. My younger brother, I'm sure, was still paying for something that he signed up for at 18. You know? So you're running this whole hustle, and then you take your first job. Is that with Brian Equipment?
No.
Or
So my first job was with a company called Gray Bar Electric. It was in Cleveland. So I'm living in Toledo at the time.
Okay.
I take this job in Cleveland. So pack up my whole life. Me and one of my best friends, we moved to a house in Cleveland.
Okay.
I've never lived in Cleveland in my life. It was fun. I was excited for a new opportunity.
Sure.
And I was selling lighting and electrical products. I realized after about 6 months, I hated this.
Okay.
I wanted to get back into lawnmowers and trimmers.
Yeah.
And I wanted to get back into the green industry.
That's what you knew.
So it's what I knew, and not only is it what I knew, it's what I loved. Because with this type of industry, you love it. Like you have to love it because everybody can be outside when it's nice outside. You have to love being outside and love working outside. When it's 2 a.m, it's 4 degrees out and it's snowing.
Yep.
When it's pouring rain and you've got lawns you got to cut, no matter what.
Yep.
You got to blow leaves. It stinks.
Yeah.
Like you got to love it. You got to love the suck. So, and I missed that.
Yeah.
So about a year into working there, I had a meeting with my boss, and we both decided I should go this way, and they should go find somebody else. Who's,
right.
Yeah, like we both pretty much decided it'd be best if I stopped working there anymore.
This mutual agreement.
Yeah, very much so. So I did a little soul searching, and I ended up landing back on my feet with a landscaping firm in Cleveland, and I was a manager there. I was helping out with some irrigation, some fertilization, plant installs and removals, high-end stuff, like full property maintenance.
Sure.
And then I started running snow ops for them at a 24-hour facility.
Cool.
So it's the type of thing where I got that ball rolling. And I really kind of maxed out where I was going to be at.
Sure.
And they thought it would be about 2 years.
Right.
I did it in about 6 months.
Okay.
So then it was another type of thing where, all right, I kind of got to start looking for something else because, like, they're not going to pay me much more than this because, like, I understand the value of the guy in my position. I was doing a really good job, but, like, me talking with the guy who owns the company, we understood value, and it was like, all right, well,
glass ceiling.
Yeah. There's a ceiling here. And
yeah,
I'm not gonna pay you more than this because that doesn't make sense. So
it happens for my guys too. They're like, what's the next higher rung on the the org chart, right? I go, well, there's a trimmer and an assistant blower, and then that's pretty much where the corporate pyramid ends in my company. You know what I mean? And I laugh and I joke, and we always have a good time. But like, I always tell people it's time for you to graduate out of my company. Like I have high school and college kids. And it's known as they sign up, like, dude, you're only going to be working with me for a year or two. Not because I'm going to, want to have you go, but you need to grow on with your life. You need to move on. Like, if you're working for me after you graduate, I'm going to fire you because you need to go get your big boy job. Whether it means start a company or go work for, Amazon, I don't care. But like my business is not your end.
Yep.
Right. Like, and so it's that mutual agreement. So it always works out, but 100%. So now you're looking for opportunity and you want to stay in the industry.
Yeah.
And so
there's a snowstorm happening and I'm sitting in a cat. I can remember it till I'll remember this for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I'm sitting in a Cat 2 62D
Okay.
loader with a cage on the front of it.
Yep.
Snow's coming down. And I'm scrolling through LinkedIn, just looking at jobs because I
Had time.
ponied up. Yeah, I ponied up for the LinkedIn premium, and I saw this job with Bryan Equipment Sales.
Okay.
I didn't know what Bryan Equipment Sales was.
Sure.
I was just looking for something in equipment sales, so I applied for it. They had the job listing opened up for quite a while because a lot of the times they were getting people who were like over the road mechanics, like kind of that you see the guy fixing a semi truck on the road.
Right.
That's what they thought the position was, technical field specialist.
Okay.
So I don't know if there was wording different or whatever, but they thought it was something like that. So they got a lot of people they weren't looking for.
Right.
They were closing the applying for the position that day. I was the last person to apply for it.
Wow.
They were like, all right, we're going to interview 7 candidates. And then
Your resume comes in.
my resume comes in, and they're like, hey, we'll do 8.
Okay.
So they did a round of phone interviews that narrowed it down to 3. Did another round of interviews, narrowed it down to 2.
Yeah.
Me and I don't know who the other
And the other
gentleman
guy's
is.
the other guy's car didn't start that morning by design.
Yeah.
Because you're 25. I understand how you guys work.
Yeah,
That's how I work. If you can't win on offense, man, you're gonna play defense. You know what I'm saying? Like I get it.
He woke up at the hotel with his car on blocks.
Yeah. I mean, it happens, man.
Well, and by the grace of God,
Plus, it's Cleveland. You know.
well,
so.
yeah. Well, so Bryan Equipment Sales for you guys, they're located in Loveland, Ohio. It's a suburb of Cincinnati.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I drove from Cleveland to Cincinnati, and it was funny because I drove there, and I went from a snowstorm to, if you're familiar with Ohio at all, Northern Ohio gets a bunch of snow.
Right.
Southern Ohio, not too much. It's
No.
about 25 degrees warmer in Cincinnati than it is in Cleveland or Toledo.
Right.
So by the time I got down there, all the snow had melted off my truck, but it was. And by the grace of God, they picked me, and I'm forever thankful because I love my role now.
Right.
So now that brings us up to February of last year, almost a year ago today.
Okay.
I got this job.
Yeah. Well, and I knew Fred
Yeah.
before, by the way.
Yeah.
We were talking about this this whole story in this lineage. We just got Jersey mics a little while ago, so sorry if we're a little weird on the microphone. We're still picking lettuce out of our teeth, but but here, it's cool because I knew Fred before because I started working with Steel, doing some stuff with their brand ambassador program. I don't even know. They're just great people there, and so anyway, you started working there a year ago. You replaced Fred.
No, well, no, not exactly.
Okay.
So I cover Northern Ohio, Northern Indiana, and Michigan up until we don't cover the Upper Peninsula. That's the other distributor who does that.
Sure.
And I work with 7 territory managers. The guy Fred you're talking about, he was a territory manager here in Detroit.
Oh yeah. No,
So,
you're right. You're
yeah,
right.
Yeah. So
I got those confused.
Because
who's the new guy?
Rich El Corey.
Rich. That's right.
Yeah.
We got to hang out with him. He's a cool dude.
Yeah. So I work with 7 different territory managers, 2 in Indiana, 3 in Michigan, and 2 more in Ohio.
Wow.
Across that entire area. So I'm constantly in communication with those guys when I'm driving through their areas.
Right.
They're sending me leads of like landscapers to go see and support, or
Sure.
dealers to go see and support,
Right.
safety trainings, product demos. They're constantly sending me that stuff. So I'm communicating with them.
Gotcha.
And working with them. So that brings me up to last year.
Yep.
I kind of worked my plan throughout last year, getting to know a lot of people. That's about the time. A little after that, you and I connected.
You reached out to me, April, May? We saw each other at the open house, at Weingart's Open House.
Weingart's Open House.
And
that was like March.
Yeah, because you had just replaced a different guy.
Yes.
And you walk in, like I walk in through the double doors at Farmington Weingart's, right? And dude, there's 400 people there or whatever.
Packed.
It's packed out. And I'm walking in there, just humble little me with my camera, and we're just hanging out. And dude, you beeline for me, and you're like, hey, I'm Mark Parker. I'm with Steel. And I'm like, good for you, dude. Like, I don't, dude, like, if people don't know you, you're this like big chisel dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, you walk in, you get this big boomy voice. I'm like a stick figure. I can blow. I'm like the guy that's in front of a car dealership blowing in the wind, that's like, come and buy a car, like the little like air thing, Mark Parker's this like German dude, like, looks like he's going to smash like 4 beers with you, right? And, which is funny. So you came over to me, and I'm just like, it's like 9 a.m. I'm like a recluse. I'm like, I'm still waking up. I'm not a morning person by design. And you're like, I'm Mark Parker. I'm like, cool. And you're like, hey, if you ever need anything, give me a shout, whatever. And so we caught up. I'm like, yeah, that's cool, that's nice. I'm like, I always tell people, like, it's impossible to do anything the first 10 weeks of the season.
Yep.
Right? Because you're like, let's grab lunch. I'm like, cool, call me in June. You're like, actually, I wasn't going to call you until June because you're like, you're working. I'm like, thank you. Somebody who gets it. Why do you get it? Because you come from the field, right? Like, that's really important to me. So we had that connection, and we got Olga's.
Yeah, we got Olga's.
Which, don't judge me, okay? I like little crackers.
Those little crackers with that
snackers sugar stuff with the cheese.
Yeah.
That stuff will. That's why I'm fat, Mark.
Well,
it's because of you.
That stuff is like that, and the garlic sauce at like a Mediterranean place. That stuff sticks in your pores.
Lather it on.
It sticks in your pores for days.
Well, I totally nailed the working out this winter part, right? Because that's why I got my 6-pack. Yeah, right.
Your boiler looks good.
Yeah, dude, it's so not good. I had a really good guy in the trimmer this whole year, so I haven't really got off the mower, and then I've been eating like just gluttony, almost. Yeah. And I'm like, man, and Liz she's like, hey, what's up with that? I go, what? She goes, you when I first met you had an Audi. She goes, now you have an innie because your belly's an Audi. I go, that's not good. That's not right. But anyway, that's a whole other topic. Anyway, back to you.
Yeah,
so,
back
I don't
to
know
me.
how we get down these rabbit holes. So you join up with these guys. You come on board February, March, and we're at the open house.
Yeah,
awesome time. So what's your role now? Like what do you actually do? Because a lot of people want to know. What do you get to do as you're servicing the field and supporting the field?
So this is a very unique role that Steel has, and Bryan Equipment actually started this. A lot of the concepts that Steel has now, Bryan Equipment helped pioneer. Like when you walk into a Steel store, how they all basically look the same, the Steel section in any store.
Yeah.
It's called the Steel Concept Store.
Okay.
Bryan Equipment started that. A guy named Tim Campbell started that.
Wow.
Tim Campbell's one of the nicest people I've ever met in my entire life. Love that man.
Cool.
And he started, this is the way everything should look, this is the way it should be laid out. Well, in my role, technical field specialist, we're very unique. I don't believe any of the other brands have something like me where I go out and I help face and help promote and work with the end users, landscapers, municipalities, colleges, people like that who are using our equipment. They might have technical issues. They could want to just try out and demo products.
Right.
A lot of them need safety trainings. A lot of people want safety trainings for
right.
what
That's
we're
not
doing.
all you do. Right, the safety training.
Yeah,
that's where we got to meet each other.
Yeah, we got connected through the safety trainings.
Right,
but that is a snippet of what I do.
Yeah,
mostly what I'm doing is working with landscapers and end users and people who use Steel products and people who don't use Steel products.
Totally,
I'll still come and help support you. I'm factory support and helping out end users.
Right. So, because I see when after our live event, you were able to connect with so many different folks there. Where, of course, your role is to book your calendar and work with other guys in the field, and ideally, of course, let's just be honest, sell products behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's business. Okay, that's okay. But that's like an auxiliary to helping make sure that people are safe. And so I remember you hanging out with a friend of the show, Caleb Allman, right?
Yes.
So like you went down to where's he at? Columbus.
Yeah, he lives a little south of Columbus.
South Columbus, and you were using the cutoff saws and the chainsaws, and just maybe talking power washers. I forget. You guys were covering the whole gamut,
Yeah.
And okay, so what does somebody do when a Mark Parker shows up? Like, let's say I call this Mark Parker fella, right? And I'm like, hey, I got 22 employees that work for me. I'm a $2 million outfit, and we want to have an office morning, right? Take 3 hours, 8 to 11 on a Monday. You come in. They set up a projector. What are you talking about?
So I tailor it towards what kind of landscape outfit are you? Are you an outfit of mainly design build guys who are using cutoff saws, and are you using a lot of stuff like that? Or are you a tree care company? Or are you just like a general cut, blow, go? We use hedge trimmers type of commercial landscaper.
So you personalize it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's pretty personalized. I'll talk about personal protective equipment every time I talk about PPE. Every single thing.
What's PPE?
Personal protective equipment.
Okay.
What you should wear: your safety glasses, your headphones, your proper footwear,
right?
Chaps if you're using chainsaws, helmets, gloves. I talk about all of that stuff initially before I talk about any product.
Okay.
Because the first and foremost, you want them to be safe.
Totally.
So. And then I'll talk about either cutoff saws, so like the cut quicks, or some of you guys might refer to them as concrete saws or whatever. I talk about those in some of them when I'm talking to more design build guys. I'll talk about chainsaws and like felling techniques and things like that with tree care companies.
Sure.
And I'll talk about equipment maintenance across the entire board.
Okay.
I'll talk about what to look for on equipment when you're picking it up, such as like a chainsaw, some things to review. I'll go into that with cut quicks. I'll go into that with all sorts of equipment. Fuel, I'll talk about proper fuel when fuel goes bad and things like that. So
and this is essentially a free service.
It's absolutely free.
Yeah.
Not essentially, it is 100% free.
Totally. And your role is to support. I mean, it's such a cool position that you're in. Like there's so many moving parts behind the scenes of a business, right? Especially as the business gets bigger. And again, the reason I wanted to have Mark at my live event and again on the podcast, and besides he's just becoming a friend and being a bud, but like, dude, safety is super important. Like, there isn't a single guy that I started my company where I'm like, I start every single thing with, hey, there's pretty much nothing you can mess up where I'm going to be mad at you, but we just need to communicate, right? We need to be safe. At the end of the day, I want you to go home safe. We're using mowers, we're using trimmers, we're using hedge trimmers, right? Everything starts with safety. Like, if you hire a new person, I'm telling you what, before you start teaching them all this, what you need to do, and you just rip them into your truck, and we got 28 lawns to cut today, or 25 yards of mulch we're slinging, dude, make sure they're safe. Like, don't assume that a 19-year-old kid has his brain working. Like, and I'm being funny, but I'm being real. Like, they don't know what they don't know. Yeah. And the more that, as technology improves people's lives, less and less people have had to do these kind of startup blue collar ditch digger type jobs. Like, they didn't grow up with their dad on the farm, right? Like wrenching on a car, wrenching on a tractor. So they don't know. And that's not a slate. It's not a dig. By the way, these kids know how to do 20 times what I know how to do with social media, right? So they have different skill sets is what I'm trying to say. But you know what? They want to hustle. They want to work. They want to cut grass and make, $15 an hour while they're in high school or college. No problem. But start slow. Teach these kids the basics. It's super, super important.
Well, and one thing to touch on that is always explain the why. Explain the why behind whatever. Why do you wear safety glasses? Sure. Why do we buy this certain type of safety glasses? What are the different types of ear protection? Just wearing your I know you get sponsored by IsoTunes, right, and like those are good because those actually have hearing protection embedded in them. Yep. Your Apple earbuds do not. The ones you buy at Family Dollar do not.
Right. Your head cans.
Yes. Yeah. Those don't. Like it's different
because when you're 19, 20, 25, you're bulletproof, right? Or at least you think you are. But I mean, we both know that there's so many folks that are in this industry in general that everybody. Once they get hurts, you know what, Mark, you probably have more experience than I do, but you know what they say? I didn't think it would happen to me.
Yep.
Right? Well, nobody plans to get hurt that day.
Absolutely. Well, and it's the weirdest thing. So I do safety trainings all over. And anybody who's been cut by a chainsaw, they're almost proud of it, and they wear it with a badge of honor. And I look at them and I go, you're just showing me how stupid you used to be.
Sure.
Or still are. I don't know. And I ask them, do you wear chaps now? And they're like, no, I didn't die from this.
Oh, my God.
And I go, you're an idiot. Right. So, I mean, for you guys who have never been cut by a chainsaw, chainsaws, they tear. They'll tear your wound open. Right. This is about to get pretty gruesome, but
spoiler.
Yeah, spoiler alert.
Whatever they say.
Yeah, fast forward about 2 minutes if you don't want to hear it. But what it does is it shreds your, so say I cut my leg, it shreds it open, and then it's not a nice clean cut. So then when you go to the hospital, they got to scrub all of that out with a wire brush, and they can't give you pain medication because you'll bleed. Blood. Yeah, you'll bleed out and die.
Sure.
So you're feeling them taking a wire brush into your open thigh and scrubbing the dirt and the wood and the sap and oils and all that stuff out of your leg.
Jesus.
And then they got to sew that back together.
Wow.
So if you don't want that to happen to you, wear chaps.
Yeah, $100 goes a long way.
Just wear chaps.
I mean, for real. Like, and that's the thing too. And by the way, don't just have chaps, wear them.
Yes.
Right. Like, I'm sure. I don't know the stat. You probably have like these all dialed in to a degree, but like, I'm sure like half of accidents, people have said safety equipment near them, on them, by them, with them, but they're not wearing it.
Well, so and for you guys who are business owners out there who have employees. Just because, and if you are paying them to operate a chainsaw and you don't provide them with chaps, you take the brunt of that OSHA fine. If you provide them with chaps and they don't, they're not up to snuff, like they're not proper chaps, they're broken, frayed, whatever, you still take the fine.
Wow.
Now, if you buy chaps, they're good, certified chaps, and they will work properly, they take the fine.
Sure.
So, and that's a meaning of about $10,000.
100%.
So,
cheapest investment safety wise, and you want to talk X's and O's, I mean, you can take care of your people. By the way, invest in your people. I mean, like, there isn't, by the way, I invest in other people, Mark. I'll be driving, okay, so we all know that anytime you buy any handheld piece of equipment, they all come with the standard, like, goggles and, like, the big plastic ones, right? That can be worn over, like, your eyeglasses. So, but then, of course, nowadays, everybody gets the cool safety glasses, too, like the Z87, and Steel has them. A couple other brands have good ones packaged in with them. Well, I mean, as I have bought so much equipment over the years, or stuff is sent to me, or, for crying out loud, I'm at a trade show and people are giving them away.
Yeah.
I have 10 of them in my cabinet in my trailer, right?
Yep.
There's so many times where, and this isn't to be rude or mean or pretentious or, getting on somebody's case, but if I see another kid out there cutting grass, a homeowner cutting grass, a weekend warrior cutting grass, and they don't have, I can't really do anything with the headphones things because that's cost prohibitive, but we all have 10 extra pairs of safety glasses.
You can give them a Brian's 10 for some ISO tunes.
Here's some free safety glasses and a coupon code for ISO tunes. They'll love that, right? And so that's funny right there. That was a good one. But that's the thing. I give these out like Skittles, dude. And I just walk up to people. I'm just nonchalant. I'm like, hey, hey, dude, doing a good job mowing grass. Hey, I noticed that you didn't have any safety glasses on. I'm sure you have a pair, but if you didn't, I've got an extra pair in my truck. I just want to grab them to you and just give them to you. And dude, like 9 times out of 10, people say thank you. They literally rip them right out of the package. They throw them on. In fact, this kind of sounds weird, but like the younger kids, I stand there, I rip them out of the package, and I give them to them. So they literally put them on right there. Now, like a 45-year-old adult, he's going to do whatever the hell he wants to do.
Yeah.
But a 17, 18, 19-year-old kid who's got his wagon, and he's like doing the, the high school thing.
Yep.
I'm like, hey, dude, why don't you put these on right now? Because you can tell them what to do, when you're 30.
And they'll listen.
But dude, I don't take it for granted because I'm like, oh, here's what somebody told me this one. They said, hey, you're a 25-year-old stud. You got the hair, you got the body, you're working out, you're doing the thing, but you're as good as you look right now, you're going to be an ugly looking pirate, and nobody, and I'm not trying to be mean or, you know what I'm saying? But the bottom line is like, dude, treat safety serious, and it's the simplest stuff. It's just headphones, earring protection, we'll call it, and then eyeglasses, chaps, boots. I'm a big Cujo guy, right? But like if you're working with anything moving, like big mechanical stuff, or you're digging holes, you're working with shovels, and you can like cut your toes off, wear some landscaping boots, right?
Leather steel toe boots.
100%.
Leather steel toe boots.
Chainsaws, right?
With chainsaws. Leather steel toe boots. We may there's chainsaw boots. Those have the Avertick. That's the material inside of the chaps. Those have that inside of the boot.
Oh wow.
If you use chainsaws more often.
Right. You're an arborist guy.
Yeah, correct.
Yep.
Arborist boots as well.
Okay.
There's also, you have, you mentioned Z87, and people might not know what that is. So Z87, that's the ANSI rating on the safety glasses. That means ANSI, they're a standards organization. They've tested them to their standards, which means they're usable safety glasses, and they will be able to withstand a projectile coming at them.
Okay.
So that's important to buy those safety glasses.
Well, so, and by the way, some even like the nicer sunglasses nowadays are Z87.
Yeah, you can buy Costas, or you can buy Oakleys, or some of those.
Just double check.
Yeah, double check. There's a brand that you can buy on Amazon. I really like them. They're called Nemesis.
Yeah, I have those.
Yeah, they're like $3.99 for a 4-pack on Amazon. They're great.
I reviewed them.
Yeah,
they're good.
Yeah, I didn't even know you reviewed them.
Yeah, they're slick.
I work for Steel. We have our own safety glasses.
Okay.
And I'm telling you,
buy Steel.
Well, but we have our own safety glasses, which you can buy in the store, and those are all Z87s as well.
Sure.
But for you guys who like
$4.
You want to buy a bunch for an entire crew, and you want to outfit your entire company.
Right.
They come with a lanyard, so if somebody wants a lanyard on the back of them, you can buy them blue, black, or clear.
Okay.
Like, they're good safety glasses,
right?
And they're $3 a.
You can never have enough of them, you know. And if you're like, oh my god, like I just my guys go through them. You know what? Like, give them 2 pair and then make them buy them out of their check.
Absolutely.
Like it's I don't know if you can legally do that. You know.
Absolutely.
But can you?
Yeah, absolutely. You can.
Rock and roll.
Yeah. You give them to them a few times, and then you say, and you make that part of the onboarding. If you lose these 2 pairs of safety glasses, you can buy another pair from us.
Right.
We can just take the money out of your check, or you can hand us the money.
Dude, I love it.
It's like buying a uniform or something like that.
Yeah. If you don't bring my shirts back, you're getting charged. We all. So we do that.
Well, yeah. It's just safety equipment, and you've already provided them with the free one and given them an opportunity.
Right.
Now you're just covering your costs on the other safety glass. So that's something that's super important. I see.
Well, let's do this. I want to keep the conversation going. We'll take a quick break. We'll hear from the announcements, and we'll get a sip of water here. But I want to talk about general PPE per each piece of equipment.
Yep.
I know you got all the stats and the numbers, and dude, you did for real a banger job at the live event because you had this really slick presentation. Of course, you don't have a visual aid here, but I know you know a lot of this stuff just because you do it, all day. And talk about hedge trimmers and chainsaws and trimmers, and so I want to kind of dive down that rabbit hole. Maybe just kind of park it here for 5 or 10 minutes. Because I want to know if guys are using all this stuff, what's the number 1, 2, 3 thing that they can watch out for, right?
Yep.
And that way we can continue to be safe. So let's do this. Let's hit the announcements again, and we'll come right back with you guys.
Step up your hearing protection game this season with ISO Tunes. Our headphones merge high-quality audio with noise-blocking earplugs. So ditch those hot and heavy muffs. or upgrade your non-protective earbuds. Our newest release, ISO Tunes Pro 2.0, offers 16 hours of battery life and is completely waterproof. Treat your ears to OSHA-certified hearing protection at isotunes.com today.
All right, guys, so let's do this. As we go back into this, talking about safety and all the different equipment that we're using with hedge trimmers and blowers and chainsaws, right? I want to know what's some of the top, like, I don't know if they'd be like FAQs, but, you know, here's what I'll just say. Let me preface it with this. I was at the Steel, I don't know what they call it, like ambassador thing, like a year and a half ago. And I got to meet so many different people in corporate. I don't remember everybody's name, but all I know is that I took a test drive in a Tesla around the block a couple times. And pretty much a couple people got lit up for that, and which is kind of funny. Hey, shout out to Brian. And so anyway, it was a really good time. Shout out to Lindsay. Thanks for not firing Brian, and vice versa. Anyway, the Steel folks behind the scenes are actually really fun. They did a great job hosting us. But while we're there, they were very, very like vocal, Mark, about like safety and PPE and like we were using a, correct me, I don't know the exact way to say it, but a cutoff wheel. Yeah. Right. So we're doing the whole deal. Cutoff saw. And I remember I had went to use it on, well, I guess, a piece of rebar or something, right? And so I'm doing the whole deal, but as I started to hit the trigger and we're starting to rock and roll with it, it was a battery version. One of the legal guys and safety guys, he came running over and he like did the whole wave down, right? Like an airplane thing. He's like, stop. And I'm like, oh, what's when I do wrong? He goes, you got to put your thumb under the handle. I was like, what are you talking about? I'm like looking at my hands. So I had my hand, just like cupped around the top of the bar, the handle. He's like, no, thumb needs to be underneath it. He goes, and I need you to loosen up this arm and lock that arm out. And I had it like reversed, like this. And I was like, dude, honestly, I'm just telling you, like straight up. I was like, really, dude, we're gonna talk about this. But he goes, statistically speaking, he goes XYZ PDQ, and I'm like, holy crap, like I had no idea. He's like, just by doing that, you're like, halving the chance of you getting hurt. Or whatever. And I'm like, shut up, dude. Like it can't be that easy. But that's the stuff I want you to talk about, because these little cues and these little tips can save people's lives. And so anyway, that's how deep these guys get into that rabbit hole. And I'm glad somebody does, because I wouldn't know what I don't know. Okay, so maybe if you got some ideas where you can run with this, or do you want to just start with like a chainsaw?
Okay, here. Because let's start with one that might be near and dear to your heart. Yeah. Trimmer guards on trimmers.
Oh no. Am I going to get in trouble? Here we go.
Well, all right. So, because I saw your video.
Guard versus no guard.
Yeah, guard versus no guard.
Yep.
And I don't really care what any of you guys think. I'm just going to tell you some facts.
Yeah.
The reason a trimmer guard is there is for two reasons. It's a deflector for projectiles.
Right.
Notice it's between you and the trimmer head.
Right.
So then it deflects them the other way.
Sure.
And it keeps the line at a certain length on the trimmer.
Right. Like 8 to 10 inches.
Yeah. Why does it do that?
So it doesn't burn up the engine.
Correct. Or the clutches.
right. Well, I'm going to say, guys like me and everybody else listening to this is why this is like an endless battle, right? Yeah. like I know I'm going to advocate. This is probably the only part where we're going to disagree. Because, dude, I just burn them up, man. Like my trimmers last 2 years, they all break down eventually.
Yeah,
so.
well, they all, but I'm saying, more importantly, that guard is on there for safety. Because
sure.
There's been incidences. So say you're edging or trimming right along a rock bed, right, and you kick up a rock.
Sure.
Well, there's been instances where people have been killed because of that, because it's flung the rock and hit them, and it's happened, and you are 100% liable for that. If you have the trimmer guard on, you have some wiggle room. I was operating it safely. It's just an accident that happened.
Right.
Strict liability. You are cooked in court, in a court of law.
Not my video, but those people.
Yeah.
Because I said do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Brian's Law Maintenance is not responsible for anything.
It's not responsible.
Legal disclaimer.
Yeah, exactly. Legal disclaimer.
You'll hear the disclaimer at the end of the podcast.
So we'll start there, and then we can start with we can go to hedge trimmers. People use a lot of hedge trimmers. Use sharp hedge trimmers. Yeah. Sharpen and clean your hedge trimmers every single day.
Yep.
When it's prime hedge trimming season.
Yep.
The reason being is because if you cut yourself with those and they're covered in a bunch of sap and rust and dirt and stuff like that, it's more likely to get infected, and it won't be as clean as a cut. If they're sharp, it'll be a nice clean cut. They can clean it out and suture you back up or what have you.
It seems so like backwards when you say that, but it's true.
Yeah.
Like it actually does you a benefit.
Yeah, because and you got to think, all right, let's just, instead of yourself, let's go to the health of the plants.
Right.
You want nice, crisp, clean cuts, because you guys have all trimmed boxwoods or burning bushes, and they look brown.
Yep,
a couple weeks. Yeah, they yellow out because you're tearing the leaves rather than. So when we see the guys who have the hand shears and they're hand shearing, a boxwood or something.
Right.
And
Arborvitaes or spruce.
they don't turn brown because those are sharp and it makes a nice clean cut. Hedge trimmers, are they super efficient? Yes. But unless they're not, if you can muscle those through plenty of bushes or trees or whatever, but you can't.
So you're saying sharpening once a year is not ideal?
No, sharpening weekly is ideal.
I've heard after every use,
at least weekly. Like at worst case scenario, weekly. I would say when you're in prime hedge trimming season, daily. Yeah. It takes you 5 minutes, lube and do all of that stuff daily.
There's, I don't know if Steel has something, but there's a couple different brands out there that have like, lubricants and I don't know what you would exactly call them, not like sterilizer, but like.
So yes, and actually more and more battery stuff's being prevalent. So, and this kind of will rabbit hole into something else like we tend to do. Yeah. With the Steel battery hedge trimmers, if you get sap and stuff on the hedge trimmers and they lock up, they won't work. Oh. You actually have to keep those clean. Mm-hmm. And it's the same when you're talking about chaps with our battery chainsaws and stuff. Yeah. The motors are set so they don't override that, so they'll just fault and they won't work. Okay. So there's a certain threshold. Yeah, there's a certain threshold, and when it goes past it, it just doesn't work. Okay. Basically. Thankfully. That's me boiling it down as best as I can.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's the same thing. Those won't work. They'll wonder why they don't work, and it's because they're stuck together because you trimmed used the day before. Sure. And now they're covered in used sap. Right. So there's a disinfectant and hedge trimmer cleaner on there, and it's a degreaser, as well as a product I found to be useful when I was landscaping was fluid film. Okay. And PB Blaster was pretty helpful too.
What one thing is to not use is, from what I understand, is WD-40. Yeah. Like you would think, viscosity and oiling and lubing it all up, but like it's actually harmful for the plants. And, I'm not an arborist. I'm not a horticulturalist. Go ask your local, tree guy. Like my friend Mike Bedell, he's my guy. I'm like, hey, Mike, what do I do with X, Y, and Z? He's like, oh, well, the flux capacitor and the rudimentary and the rhododendron. I'm like, Mike, you're talking a different language, but that's why I go to Mike. And Mike's super smart. Mike eats the stuff up. Mike reads the articles. I'm more of a big picture guy, but thank Jesus for the Mikes. Thank God for the Mark Parkers, right? Okay, let's keep this conversation going. Let me ask you about blowers. Okay, because really interesting thing, and this sounds really morbid, but everything you just said, you can stitch back together. The one thing you lose and you can't get back is your hearing. Yep. And I mean, dude, and I'll be honest with you, like my first 5 years in business, I did not use any headphone protection. I got, we have a lot of Red Max up here, right? So I'm using Red Max blowers and, Echo blowers and then Seal blowers and, pick your poison. I'm using all this stuff, right? And just, this stuff is, just, two-stroke engines, 8,000 RPM, whatever, just going ballistic, right? No headphones. No headphones for 5 years. I meet Liz, and maybe like a year or two before that, maybe I was starting to use some headphone protection, like head cans. There was no isotunes and, all this mess out there, which thankful for those guys. Brian's 10. And like, that's why I pick up some brands because I'm like, dude, this is stuff that I should have been using. So if you're at day one, year one, like, yeah, you should be starting off right. I can only imagine like, hopefully I'm not like 70, my hearing goes instead of it like going at 80 or 90. Yeah. Right. Because who knows what damage I would have done. Now, I will say this funny story. My girl had a stint in audiology. And so this sounds really funny here is that she actually brought me into one of the booths, the hearing testing booths, because that's what she did was hearing tests. And so she's like doing the whole like, boop. And she's like, wave your hand if you can hear it. So I wave my hand, right? And then she's like, so I wave my hand. I'm like, I hear it. So she goes through all of them and she's like, damn. I'm like, what? Like, how bad is it? She goes, this is really interesting. I go, oh no, how bad is it, right? She goes, no, you actually scored 100 out of 100. I go, well, that's great. She goes, so why don't you listen to me at home? So I go, oh no. So this whole running.
You are ready to be a dad with that joke,
dude. I got. You are ready to be a dad. I got jokes on jokes, dad jokes. So we're ready to start the family thing. So it's funny because now she's like, I know you hear me, like you just choose not to listen. I'm like, yeah, because now I got no excuse, right? Like my cover's blown because I'm 100 out of 100 or whatever on the spectrum, right? So, but hearing, funny joke, but anyway, serious note though, like hearing is huge. Like you can't get it back, and so head cans, headphones.
So I prefer the over-the-ear earmuffs. Steel makes a pair of Bluetooth over-the-ear earmuffs. I know the 3M ones were rather. That's what I had.
The Peltors.
The 3M yellow ones that you had the radio. That's what I used.
Work tunes.
Yeah, work tunes. Yep. I prefer the over-the-ear earmuffs because it protects your ear all the way around rather than just having a bud inside of it. Right. You're talking about different blowers, the 2 strokes, the 4 stroke, the 4 mix, whatever. And you'll notice steel blowers sound a little bit quieter.
They do.
And it's because they are quieter.
Okay.
Their decibel is much less than the 2-strokes. It's designed that way for a reason. So for you guys, ear conscious wise, if everything else is apples to apples, a 4-mix engine is quieter than a 2-stroke engine. But
that works.
Absolutely, over the ear earmuffs is what I'm a big proponent of.
Well, it's funny. Spring and fall cleanups.
Yeah,
I got my ISO tunes in. I'm listening to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Whatever. Listen to all you guys. Listen to all the other stuff out there. Listen to Gary V. But you know what's really interesting? Even though I got ISO tunes on, I still put my head cans over them. Because, dude, leaf cleanups. I mean, there's times where we don't stop the blowers and put them in cruise control. Yeah. And for an hour and a half. Me, my guys, we're on the hurricane, the Billy Goat, the whole time, dude. And even though I got my ISO tunes in, I'm just extra protective, so I'll put my ISO tunes in. So I got music. I don't want any wires, right? So, the behind the neck, that's fine. But guys know what I'm talking about. But even if I'm using like the ISO tunes freeze or whatever, and then I put the head cans on, it's not like the ISO tunes don't do a good job. But we're out there for 2 hours, and it's 20 degrees out. I ain't going back to the truck. We're just sitting there freezing our butt off, moving leaves. But I'm just so redundant now because my girl, had a background in hearing, and she's like, it breaks my heart when there's 40, 50-year-old people come in that had a background in music, that had a background in working at a factory, a manufacturing facility, and they're 35-year-old people wearing hearing aids. And again, not being mean, let's just be real. Yeah. Like, you got to take care of your health, so that's why PPE and hearing protection and chaps and all this other stuff, it's incredibly important. We danced over it, but let's circle back to chaps because there's a couple different styles. I know we can't answer everything on this, but there's different styles like around the leg, something you put on. What's most effective? What's the most popular? So
we sell, and I can't speak to everybody else's chaps. I can just speak to the ones that you buy at the steel store.
Sure.
But the chaps we have, they're woven, and the material inside the chaps is called Avertic, and that is woven in a diamond-shaped pattern in order for wherever you lay the saw into your leg, it'll wrap around the chain and wrap around the sprocket, thus stopping the saw. In terms of full wraparound chaps versus just front apron chaps, there's no safer option. It's just, do you want to get, like, I wear wraparound chaps because I do a lot of wood cutting in the woods.
Sure.
So then I don't get like those burrs and prickers and stuff on the back of my pants.
Okay.
They come right off the chaps material rather easily.
Yeah.
But if you're wearing like jeans or something, it gets all, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So we also make chap pants. Those are like $300. And those are an entire pair. They're almost like snow pants. Super comfortable.
Right.
I love wearing those when we'll go up north into Michigan and ride snowmobiles. And they're important to wear if you do hunting trails or anything like that. Because you have warm pants on that have chaps in them that you're clearing trails and stuff with a chainsaw.
Sure.
And you're still protected.
Smart. And are they insulated or are they?
Yeah, they're thick. They're thick.
Okay.
They're real thick. So like, don't wear them in the summer. You'll have heat stroke.
Yeah.
Wear them in the winter time.
That's what I was wondering.
Yes. Yeah. They don't breathe well. So I wear my apron chaps in the summertime.
Gotcha.
And I wear my.
What about with shorts though? Can you? I mean,
you can wear chaps with shorts.
Okay.
Yeah. You can wear chaps with shorts. Absolutely.
You're not just required to wear pants with them.
No,
it probably helps with like all the.
I mean, it's an extra layer of something other than your skin. So I would recommend wearing pants. But
and by the way, one other thing you said at our training that was just a great analogy. Tell them the speed of what a chainsaw is moving at. Because if you think you're 25 and bulletproof, dude, listen to this.
All right, so when a saw kicks back, it's going at about 65 to 70 miles per hour. So say I have a 25-inch bar. What I'll do is you can stand there and we can lay that 25-inch bar down in front of you. I'll drive my truck at you at 70 miles per hour and I'll honk my horn when I'm 25 inches away from you and you can get out of the way. If you don't think you can do that, wear safety equipment.
Holy cow.
Wear a helmet.
Holy cow.
Absolutely wear a helmet. That's one of the most overlooked things.
Yeah, let's talk about helmets.
That I talked about is the helmets.
You talk about crushing them.
Yeah, so when you have a helmet, there's a stamped on manufacturer's date inside of it. It'll be a month and a year. It's good for 5 years after that date, or unless it cracks or breaks.
Okay.
You can do that you can test it by pushing the sides in together. You can see all this on the YouTube video that Brian posted on his YouTube channel.
Yeah.
But you can push it in on the sides and then look at the back of the helmet to see if it's whitening or the cracking or anything like that. And then take your hand and punch the suspension in the helmet. Do that because if your hand goes all the way to the back of the helmet, then it's just going to the helmet will just sit on your head. So when a limb falls on there, you just got a piece of plastic around your head. Right. not really any protection.
I gotcha.
So
and the screen is not safety glasses.
That is not the screen on there is just to make sure wood chips aren't in your face.
Right.
Like that is not eye protection whatsoever.
And people are like, I do videos, on YouTube, and you guys got to realize too, like optics is everything. So if somebody does send me, Steel sent me a chainsaw, so I'm in a video and I got the full PPE, and then I got people commenting like all this for a 4-minute video. I'm like, well, would I wear all this naturally, trimming a tree? Probably not. Should I look after this conversation and having you at our live event? Absolutely. But
every time you pick up a chainsaw, you should.
Dude, so that's my point. That's kind of alarming because you go on that chainsaw. I did a 4-way comparison chainsaw video, right? You've seen it. And dude, there's 400,000 views and there's like 600 comments probably by now. I bet you for real, Mark, like this would be an interesting thing to look up. 95% of the comments are, well, you guys aren't tree guys, which is a whole nother topic because I was just like, we're not tree people. And people are like, why are you reviewing chainsaws? I'm like, because they send them to me and I like cutting things because I'm a red-blooded male. What would you do? Okay, but number 2 is, like another number. But the other one is it's more the alarming point is everybody's like, really, dude? We were trimming up some they like not pine trees, but some spruces or something like that, right? And some I forget the name of them. Okay, I'm not a tree guy.
I don't know.
They're big ass, like 30-foot tall, like evergreen type trees.
Oh, okay.
And people,
white pines.
Yeah, some 4 trees in the backyard of this guy. He had in the corners, and people are like, all this for just pruning some limbs. Literally it was like the consensus of every comment was like, all this just to prune these limbs, all this to just to hack down these little trees, to do this stuff, and like people were like, it was a joke. And I'm like, and I get it, I'm like, I take the comments. I'm like, cool, I get it, no big deal. But it's alarming to me that 90% of the people thought that just having chaps and a helmet and gloves was redundant.
Yeah.
And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like one kickback, one this, one flip. Let's talk about that. Where are the majority of the injuries?
So there's 2 spots where the majority of the injuries occur on a chainsaw. It's your left leg and your left hand.
Left leg, left hand. So everybody listening at the podcast, look at your left hand, look at your left leg. Now remember, you're holding a right-handed chainsaw.
Every chainsaw is made to be right-handed.
Right. So
let me repeat that again. Every chainsaw is made to be right-handed.
Okay.
They're all right-handed.
Gotcha.
They do not run left-handed. Do not operate a chainsaw left-handed.
And so as we're pulling the chainsaw up, right? So something's gonna happen to our left hand. Why is that?
So people who will go to either hit the brake on with their left hand, they'll miss the brake, or they won't be doing it right. When you put the brake on with the chainsaw, your hand is on the wraparound bar right there.
Right.
You just roll your wrist forward,
roll your knuckles forward,
and it'll click the brake on.
Yep.
When you want to take the brake off, you just pull the brake off. You're able to do that. Take your hand off the trigger when you pull the brake off, and then you're able to pull the brake off. And
don't put your hand out like you're stopping traffic.
Yes, because what'll happen is people will miss it, and then they'll grab the bar and chain or something because that's a natural reaction. Sure. And then it cuts off your fingers.
Or you which is right. Or you try to cock it like you're Arnold Schwarzenegger with an M4.
Yes.
And you miss it and boom.
Yeah. Or people will be using top handle chainsaws up in a tree, and then they will cut their hand because they think that's a one-handed chainsaw.
Oh.
There are no one-handed chainsaws.
Yeah, don't do that.
There are no one-handed chainsaws.
Right.
So
doesn't matter if they're 2 pounds or 20 pounds.
Yeah. Now, Steel makes a little pruning saw.
Right.
That's about a 4-inch blade.
Right.
That you can use one-handed, but that is for pruning.
Okay.
Now, when you're an arborist up in the tree or something like that, you'll use a top handle chainsaw with one hand. And when you do that, you're at risk with your other hand. If you have to use one hand, use a pole saw. They make extendable pole saws for a reason. Use those.
Makes sense.
If they're like, oh, but it's going to take me a little bit longer. Okay, well, if I was able to save you 5 minutes, can I cut your hand off?
Right.
Like, think about that. Think about that. Anytime you want to cut a corner and save 5 minutes,
or right, $5.
Yeah. Can I cut your fingers off for $5? If I said that to you, you would think I'm crazy.
See, that's what I'm talking about. These analogies. You're like, and then you look at PPE and people are like, oh, I don't have time. Oh, I don't have money. I'm like, no. Like, if you can't operate your business and pay your people correctly and invest in safety, I'm just telling you, you need to raise your prices. Yeah. Like, I'm not going to be mean. Because this is stuff I learned in the last 5 years, guys. That's why this dang podcast exists, to give you this kind of thought process. I didn't have this thought process 10, 12 years ago.
Yep.
It was out there, but let's just be honest, it wasn't available. I didn't know where to go for it.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do this. Let's wrap up with going into this summer. We're going into spring 2020. We're going to snap our fingers, and before you know it, it's our live event again, which is going to be really cool.
Yep.
So would you like to come on back?
Absolutely, I'd love to.
Dude, it's going to be...
I plan on being there.
Dude, like, you stole the show for sure. Keith Kalfas did, Stanley Dirt Monkey did, Jason Creel. I mean, everybody did a banger job. But when I was getting ready for lunch, you know, I'm trying to keep the double door shut so all the Italian catered in lunch like didn't seep into the room because, you know, then everybody's going to start rioting and throwing chairs, right? But when you were up there, I had the wave, and I'm like, Mark, it's like 12:03, like, we're done because the food's here, we're ready to rock and roll, it's all set up. But I looked at the room, nobody wanted you to stop talking. Like the body language, and I looked at the audience was, everybody's at the edge of their seat, everybody's leaning forward, everybody's cracking knuckles, like, people are into it, you know. And by the way, that was the whole event. Thank Jesus, because I mean, people who came, like, they wanted to learn. Like, these weren't like civilians, right? Like, this isn't a corporate thing. Everybody there is self-employed. They wanted to be there. But your presentation, you know, about safety, that's what I'm talking about. It's about safety. Generally speaking, if I go to anything safety related, I know when I was working for somebody else, I was in the back of the room, my eyes were glossed over, and I'm checking Instagram or Facebook.
Yep.
And so anyway, I just say that you did a great job. So when you come on back, we can't wait to have you.
Appreciate that.
You did a really good job. If Steele's listening to this or watches this or gets back to them, like, I just want them to know that you did a banger job. I mean, literally, dude, I seriously, sincerely believe that you're saving people's you know, appendages, lives, limbs, you know, health, you know, and it's really important. So I'm glad that you're passionate about what you do. Here's the deal. What can you imagine this? Can you imagine an unpassionate safety coordinator, an unpassionate safety guy?
It'd be awful. Well, and like,
I don't get it.
Yeah. Well, and see, like,
so good. Kudos to you. Is why I say that.
Thank you. And like, when you guys can probably hear how I get excited in my voice, and
100%.
You saw when I was up on stage halfway through, I just threw the microphone out of the way because I can be very loud. So
that German booming voice.
Yeah.
So you're screaming.
You can tell by my laugh.
Yeah. I'm the juggernaut.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. So you're going through it.
Yeah. So, but it's the type of thing where you have to have a passion for safety, because this is not a topic that everyone likes to talk about money.
Right.
Everybody likes to talk about talking about chainsaws is fun. Talking about equipment, that's something that's fun to do.
It's sensational.
Yeah, exactly. Safety equipment is not sensational. So
by design.
Yeah,
or like by default, I should say.
Yeah, by default. It's just it's boring. It is something that it's just a necessity.
Right.
So you have to be passionate about it. And you guys have to drive the passion and the commitment. You guys have to keep a few extra pairs of safety glasses in your truck.
Right.
Give it to that kid with the wagon in the subdivision.
We all have a responsibility.
We got to police ourselves out here. There is there's OSHA, and then there's the Perpers or whatever, the public employees one, but
they're one in a million. Like they're not here to police you guys either.
It's like a guy like me trying to police everybody about using chainsaws and stuff properly. I can't do that. I cover 3.5 states of stuff.
Right.
Doesn't work that way.
Take some responsibility. You guys, if you're a leader of I don't care if you're an employee listening to this and you're working for one of the national guys,
a crew leader.
That's what I'm saying. Or you're a foreman. Like, dude, take care of your guys. Like, they're family, dude. Make sure those people get to come home. It's kind of like the military, bro, is how I always operate my company. I'm like, do what you're told, do what you're supposed to do. We all have roles. I say, if we all operate in our strengths and we all do what we're supposed to do, the team comes back. I don't need a sniper guy being a machine gun guy.
Yep.
I don't need a machine gun guy being the sniper guy. We all got our roles. Do your freaking job. And by the way, I got a freaking job. I got a freaking role. And one of my roles is to make sure my people are safe.
Yep. From
me to the newest guy, whether you got 2 people, 20 people, be safe out there. Dude, super good conversation. Like, this is really good meat. If you guys, here's what I'll tell you. Listen to this again 2 or 3 times, because you're going to have to hear it a couple of times for it to sink in. Let's do this. Let's keep it light. Let's keep it fun. As we wrap up, where can people find you if they want to know more about Mark Parker and all the different things that you offer?
So if you guys want to get a hold of me and find out what I can do for you, you can find me on Instagram at MarkParker567.
Yep.
You can Google Mark Parker Steel. I'm on the Steel USA website. You would look under Bryan Equipment or look under like the state of Ohio or Midwest. You could Google Mark Parker Steel.
Yeah.
Mark Parker, the exact way you would think to spell it.
Okay.
It's pretty easy.
Dude, you're easy to get a hold of.
I mean, I'm really easy to get a hold of. You can shoot me an email, give me a phone call, whatever you need. I would be, if you're in the Ohio, Michigan, or Indiana area, I'd come to love to see you.
Yeah.
If you're at any of the big trade shows that are going to be there, please get a hold of me. Sometimes I'm there, sometimes I'm not.
Right.
It just depends. So I'd love to connect with you guys.
You know where I know you're going to be though? November. Launchpreneur Academy
Launchpreneur
Live.
Academy
2020.
Live.
Come on, that was not a good plug.
2020.
That was,
There you go.
Wah, wah, wah. That was such a bad plug. But no, for real. Like, in fact, you had just as many people around you having conversations as Stanley and Keith.
Yeah.
Like, not to take anything away from them, but dude, you did a great job. Last thing I'll say is this isn't sponsored or endorsed by Steel. Mark works for Brian Equipment. I will say this, not to distance Steel from you or anything like that, because I think that you are a tremendous asset to them. But guys, don't this isn't endorsed by Steel or anything like that. They don't even know that we're doing this conversation. But if I was from Steel, I'd be really proud of you. Like, I'm just gonna be honest. Like, dude, I've got to know you behind the scenes. Here's how I always know, and this is way extra credit. I've probably never said this on a podcast, but I always look for what people say when I'm not recording.
Yeah.
I always listen to how do they treat their wife? How do they talk about people? How do they interact with the food vendor? How do they interact at the trade show? When they're in line, are they pushy? Are they needy? Are they a jerk? Are they a dick? You've never been like that, dude. I've seen you. We just read Jersey Mike's P's and Q's. You're just a class act.
It takes zero talent to be kind. It
Totally.
takes zero talent to be kind.
Yeah.
So some advice is from a business owner, and you'll probably it takes zero talent to call somebody back. It says zero talent to hold open a door, say please and thank you.
Sure.
We're all trying to do a job. I'm in the customer service industry. I deal with customer service. I stay in hotels 4 nights a week.
Right.
I appreciate it when people go just do their job and say thank you. I also understand understanding mistakes happen.
Yep.
Just be kind to one another when we're out there.
No, dude, you embody that. Is what I want to say.
Appreciate that.
No, like I can tell the way you probably run your company, to way you had. Now let's be honest, we're all males, we're all morons too. So we're not perfect.
We're idiots.
Yeah. Sometimes we're Neanderthals. But that being said, like I know you're an asset to the industry, the community. You're a friend of mine, a friend of my channel, and everything that we got going on in my brand, if you will. You're a friend of everything that we got going on in Michigan here. And again, if anybody wants to reach out to you, I totally encourage them and implore them to do so. By the way, if you didn't watch the YouTube video that Mark Parker did, it's a free video. Again, like it's one of the videos that I shot at the event. The first third of the audio is really good. The latter half, I had to use a redundant backup because Mark just grabbed the chainsaws and he was like, "If you're using this without chaps, you're a more." No, I'm just kidding. And just
basically,
he started ripping it from the frame, and he went rogue. No, I'm just kidding. But again, like you did a great job. If you've never watched that video, do me a favor, do yourself a favor, check it out. It's 25 minutes.
Yes, about 25 minutes.
It was pure meat, no fluff, and you just did a good job. So, all right, well, that's it. Any final thoughts, Mark? Open mic. If not, we're wrapping up.
Be safe out there, guys. If you need anything, don't hesitate. Find me. Reach out to Brian. He can get you my information, and good luck this season.
All right, guys. Well, hey, thanks so much for joining us on this episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. If you guys enjoyed it, you guys enjoyed this episode, you guys enjoyed the podcast in general, if you've never left us a review, do me a solid. Look down at your phone, hit the subscribe button, hit the 5-star, leave us 2 or 3 sentences. So many of these have been coming in. The podcast is getting out there. And you know what? Share it with another lawn bro. I'll be honest with you guys. If you got another friend or you're in a Facebook group or an Instagram group, hey, share all the fun interviews that we do too. But this interview is no less important. If not, it's more important. So share this one, get it to another friend, and let's all make sure that we're safe out there. All right, guys, that's it with Brian here, Brian Fullerton, and the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Guys, we'll catch you on the next one.
Thanks for taking the time to listen to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast with Brian Fullerton. We hope you enjoyed this production. If so, please consider leaving us a 5-star review for the show. While the techniques and ideas presented here are designed to help you grow a more successful and profitable business, no one can guarantee these results for you. We want to emphasize that entrepreneurship is not easy, and the ideas presented here are just the opinions of Brian Fullerton and his respective guests. No one can guarantee success for you. That being said, we hope the ideas presented here help you and motivate you to go on out there and crush it with your own business.
Fullerton Unfiltered podcast.
Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode.